God is good. God is good all the time. Now, after listening to that piece of trash, Joe Biden, mouth all, talk about how great America is about to be by destroying jobs, helping to kill babies, being sympathetic to rioters, trying to dress up his health care law where it's more unaffordable than ever before, and also praising himself for how he handled the hoax. First off, let me get this out the way so I don't seem like I'm just trolling Joe Biden. Joe Biden is not a legitimate president of the United States of America, so I will not be calling him President Joe Biden. Let me get that out the way. Now, this piece of trash was putting everybody to sleep. I almost fell asleep myself just watching it, because I said I was going to take some time out today just to watch his speech, then watch Tim Scott's response, and do my fair due diligence in figuring out what Joe Biden has for America next. And just like I thought, he plans on killing jobs once again because he feels like big corporations don't pay their fair share. Well, Joe Biden, these big corporations put food on the table for the very Americans that you try to cut their jobs and do nothing for them in response because you're still living out President Obama's dreams, his I hope factor. Well, I hope the Keystone Pipeline gets restarted. You throw away your executive order so people could go back to work, because you're complaining about people not being at work while you're firing them at the same time. I don't know which way you want this to go, but it sounds like what everybody has thought. You don't know what day it is of the week, let alone the only reason why you remembered that speech because you had your handlers making sure they remind you, getting you dressed and telling you exactly what to say. That's because you are a politician. See, I can read you the BS, and I'm addressing the black and brown community in this one, as well as all the white people out there. And guess what I'm going to say? We all Americans. There's no better black person, better white person, better Hispanic. We are all the same. And I'm going to judge people by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin. And only thing I see with Joe Biden is a cold-blooded snake. A snake that is spreading its venom all across America in fancy language, stupid-looking suits, ugly-looking face, and basically spewing lie after lie after lie. The reason why our economy is in this mess is because of Democrats like Joe Biden and the rest of the flunkies. We had no business being closed, people. None whatsoever. He allowed the economy to tank, and he's now trying to say, I'm going to finish off the job. I'm going to increase minimum wage where small businesses is already operating in most of the country at 30%, not 100%, but you're saying now I need for you to operate off of 20%. That's going to cost more jobs, and guess what people going to have? No job, no money, and higher prices at the gas pump, at the grocery store, going to the doctor. They can't afford Joe Biden and Obama anymore, because right now Obama's running the country. Joe Biden is screwing it up by his executive orders. He has issued more executive orders than any president out there, and he's still doing the devil's work. He wants us to be inclusive, people. Nobody's alienating transgenders or the gay people or those in the LGBTQ community, or hating Asians or hating black people or hating white people. All of that is other people's problems on their cross to bear. Not for other Americans. Other Americans is like 100 years later, are we going to be saying the same thing, or do we move on forward? We respect and honor the past by having a better future that they died for. That's exactly how we get America back to work. See, people lost their jobs, lost their homes, lost their cars, lost their savings. A lot of people are just going through that right now. You can't tell me to tell those people tomorrow's going to be better right now. Especially after just coming out with trillions and trillions of dollars of spending bills. There's trillions and trillions of dollars of tax hikes. And no revenue coming in because guess what? You destroyed most of the small businesses. Now big corporations are making cuts. That means we're going to face record levels of unemployment. What the unemployment commissions are doing nationwide, they are basically getting people to disqualify themselves by making everything so tricky to the point people make easy mistakes at a time frame that their family is starving and they are looking for some kind of direction to say that they can get another job. Not only that, but factually not lose everything that they worked hard for to even keep. This is a sad day, America, when you have a jackass like Joe Biden giving out a State of the Union address talking about basically, I'm destroying everything about America. I'm destroying all of your constitutional rights. And I'm going to make sure you masked up so you can't even speak loud enough to talk about what you're really going through here in America. America is not bright on every single street. It's not going to be. But a lot of streets was brighter when President Trump was in. Now those streets barely even have lights on while President Biden is in. And at the same time frame he's giving away tax-paying dollars, he is increasing the amount, so you are owing 2 to 3 times that amount with taxes, with gas prices, with food costs, medical costs. Everything is going up, skyrocketing. And guess what you have Biden saying? Well, we raised the minimum wage. Well, if you're making $9.50, you're really making $6.25 because all your basic bills has gone up. I'm sorry, 5 cents, 10 cents, you keep adding it up. Guess what? Even your EBT cards don't even go that far anymore. You go to a grocery store right now, what used to cost $2 is saying $3.89. That's $1.89. So by the time frame you get to checkout and you have the same type of groceries you had the week before, and you're looking at the price, you like, damn, it's an extra $50 I'm paying. No, you're paying for that because of Governor Northam of Virginia. You're paying for that because of President Joe Biden trying to increase taxes on every single American while claiming it was a serious pandemic. It wasn't serious. Honestly, Democratic governors are the reason why the death rate was so high. Sending in COVID patients into nursing homes so you could go ahead and kill off the nursing home. Now you see why he started talking about the elderly and trying to make sure there's funding so they could get the assistance that they need. You know why? Because you ain't gonna live long in their residential facilities long as it's a Democratic governor in office. So basically, where you supposed to be enjoying your golden years, enjoying your family, you in a nursing home dying alone. You got the governor sending in the viruses and the disease to the weakest of people, the people who can't fight back, who already has pre-existing conditions, but you want to say, okay, I'm going to do something for the nursing home. It sounds like you're picking and choosing winners and you're making America the losers. You don't want to talk about the indoctrination of our schools, where parents are finding out later when they should have been finding out sooner and staying on top of these schools that are doing the critical race theory, trying to make us more racist towards each other. Then you got transgenders playing women's sports and taking away their scholarships. Then you have teachers who are handcuffed from actually focusing on education because they're trying to keep the pedophiles away from the schools and away from our kids' cell phones. But instead, we are teaching them how to cope with it, how to live with it if something does happen. Because now they are trying to release every single pedophile that's out there. And guarantee you, they're looking at lowering the age of consent so the rest of Epstein's Island could be America. I refuse to accept that type of deposit into our American children's future by saying that we okay the pedophiles and the rapists and the murderers to do what they want to do without us locking and loading. That's why they're trying to take away our guns right now. They know America is sick of all the bullshit coming out of D.C. And we even sicker dealing with the fact that we got a president so out of touch that he can't even feel his own fucking face. I'm surprised he went to this one without a mask on, but think about this BS. He had a mask on at a virtual summit with world leaders. Are you serious? This is how the Democratic Party works. Then he went back to his normal spiel. Oh, we're going to lower drug prescription pills. Didn't you say that a decade ago? And drug prices is still high as hell? And then you increase the price of insulin so the rest of the diabetics could die off? Seriously. The most of the hoax deaths was from the elderly and people with pre-existing conditions. More than likely, they was going to pass away anyway. That was their time. Not sympathetic, but people couldn't afford to see a doctor during that time frame. So whatever sickness that they got was going untreated. And when that happens, it explodes out of control, and normally your death is the one that happens, while these politicians enjoy their life. See, Joe Biden shouldn't even be president, let alone in Congress, let alone anywhere else. He's supposed to be home enjoying his golden years. Period. He should have been term limited a long time ago. But this is what happens when people are doing everything else except for handling the business of the American people. See, the division that's going on here in America is manufactured and created to help a small elite group of politicians. And then their friends who buy 4 houses at millions of dollars that was meant to help a community. Instead, they was there to help themselves and their family because they said this is part of our Marxist ideology. But you didn't hear Joe Biden talk about that. No, you didn't. You heard him talk about how we are going to take away more jobs away from America, and right now we can't afford any more job cuts. But then he wanted to also say, hey, well, we're trying to handle the migrants at the border. The fact is, that problem came up under you. Under President Trump, we didn't see any more articles about kids in cages and people at the border wearing Joe Biden shirts saying, please let us in, and all this other crap. We got that under Joe Biden right now. Right now, America is paying for hotels here in America for illegals at the border. And right now, you could walk downtown in any city and you see homeless veterans on the streets. Who is more important in this situation? Those outside this country or those in this country that fought, bled, shed tears, sweated, and did exactly what they said that they are going to do? But America didn't fulfill their promise to them. That's the problem. See, Joe Biden could go up there with his fancy speech writers and those who marinate the bullshit. But Merle Rutledge doesn't fall for that. Republicans and conservatives ain't falling for that. The problem is we're trying to wake up a nation that is asleep right now because Joe Biden put them there. Honestly, people was so bored of this speech that they was clapping once they found out he was ending the speech. I was clapping at the same time frame they was clapping, but my reasons were different. I was saying, thank God Joe Biden gave out this bullshit. So this way I can inform the Commonwealth and the nation exactly the same thing. See, Joe Biden and the Democrats don't care about you. You was good for a vote. You was good to get them in the position that they are in right now, to do everything that they said that they wouldn't do on the campaign trail. And the problem is, we can't afford to keep allowing politicians to run us over. We can't afford to continue to go in this direction. We have people dying of overdoses. Suicides are through the roof. We are in much need of mental health services for our children, and not only for our children, but for ourselves. We have had a lot taken out of us over this. There's nothing different about South Dakota, Florida, Texas than it is anywhere else in the country. The problem is of ignorance and those who allow for their own states to go into the sewers of their policies. Virginia is no different, nor is North Carolina, ran by two stupid Democratic governors that will blame everything on Trump. But right now, you can't blame Trump, those who are trying to get unemployment. You can't blame Trump, those who lost your job. You can't blame Trump for you losing your house right now. Right now, that's Joe Biden. They are focused on their Port Barrel projects. Look at how much money they gave to other countries to fix their problems, while America right now is looking for a solution. This is what you call Joe Biden on steroids, with Obama being the minister of the idea of it. And now people all across America is wondering, when are we going to get back to normal? It's not going to be this type of normal. See, Democrats don't want you to take off your mask. They don't care how vaccinated you are. You already heard Kamala Harris and the rest of these Democrats, even here in Virginia, governor's candidate, talking about we're going to finish off the jabbing. You know what they're saying? They trying to finish off the rest of Virginia. See, a lot of y'all signed up for that vaccine. I feel sorry for you, because you don't know the long-term effects of it. See, we are watching it. And the thing is, when y'all start dying, you notice there ain't no coverage about you, but we'll see your picture in the obituary. Yep, that's the truth of it. Joe Biden doesn't have a plan to fix America or to bring jobs back to America. He's doing more to bring jobs to other countries. General Motors already moved one of their plants and productions to Mexico. You don't hear Joe Biden talk about that. You didn't see that nowhere in the State of the Union, whatever kind of address he wanted to give out. It's because they don't want America to know what's really going on behind the scenes. They are in panic mode, and they have a president that's unfit. And now they know that they smell and feel doom going into November, because you can't come up with enough excuses for what happened here in America. Had we had the solid leadership that we already had, our economy would be booming. People would still be working the jobs that you took away from Joe Biden and the rest of you Democratic governors, because most of the unemployment rates that are sky high are in Democratic states. Because Republicans open back up their states for business. They understood the long-term costs. They wasn't trying to increase taxes or increase prices on basic goods and services. They knew that. But the thing is, this crisis put a bunch of people in fear. Businesses shouldn't have shut down. Businesses you should have fought to stay open. To be honest with you, this pandemic isn't a pandemic for American citizens. It's a pandemic of ignorance at its highest level of government. And I mean that federal and state. The only way we could get ourselves out of this mess is to open back up the country, open back up businesses 100%, cut the tax rate for those businesses at least 15% or more, and new startups are all over the country at 0%. Businesses need incentives to come here. Virginia has become no longer the atmosphere of businesses. We became the atmosphere of people going broke just to casinos. And I had no problem with casinos, but we need the jobs here in Virginia. We need the jobs back here all across America so people can enjoy those activities without doing it because they are desperate. We will have a better Commonwealth and a better country with Republicans in charge. You don't have to worry about sending your kids to school so they can learn hate and they can learn sex ed at elementary schools. We're going to be tough on crime. Clearly about law and order, because people forgot their manners. They forgot exactly accountability and responsibility. And we used to teach that every single day. Now the government sends police anytime frame you give out a lesson that they think is too tough. They say you're abusing your kids because you had them walk a mile home after they was disrespectful to you in your car. If you decide to give out a little spanking, the government is there to say, we are arresting you. And you wonder why kids is out of control? Because they took control away from the parents and basically the government inherited it. What we all want is to be able to provide for our families. It's as simple as that. And we want to make sure our kids have the same opportunities that we had when growing up. And be prepared for a future that's changing every single day. We can't do that with a president that's more focused on other countries' problems instead of taking care of America first. See, when you vote the wrong way, people, just because you don't like somebody's personality, that doesn't matter. A lot of you don't even like your head coach's personality. A lot of y'all don't like your boss's personality. But you don't quit because there's other people you're responsible for. You're responsible for making sure your teammates win. You're responsible to make sure your family eats and have a roof over their head and clothes on their back. And that makes you happy to be able to do that. It takes a lot out of you when you can't. And you feel like the system is fixed against you. It has been fixed against you because Democrats wanted socialism. The more that you depend on the government, the more control they have over you on your independence and freedom. Because yes, they'll give you some money, but how much freedom and independence are they taking away from you for doing it? See, John F. Kennedy said it best. It's not about what your country can do for you. It's what you can do for your country. That wasn't just for the American citizens. It was for our public officials and those who we vote for to represent us. Do you feel like that's being done right now? No, it's not. Because we used to have real leadership that didn't bend or crack or break when times got tough. They answered the call of duty every single time. They didn't complain. They knew that was part of the job. And even if it wasn't a job, they knew that was a part of being an American citizen. See, people don't know what being an American citizen is anymore because they left it all confused. Because right now, people can't understand whether they're male or female because the governor or your state official or the president of the United States said it's okay for you to be called whatever pronoun you want to be called today. God gave you your gender at the time of conception. Deal with it. Marriage is between a man and a woman. If you don't know if you're a man or a woman, that's not our problem. You knew that the day that you was born, and the doctors that made sure you came into this world healthy. Don't become the government's science project or promote propaganda that goes against your morals and values or your religious freedoms and practices. We are not all supposed to agree with each other, people. We're not. Being different makes America so unique. You shouldn't be assaulted for being different, but don't expect me to tell people they have to agree with you and forcing the church to accept what goes against it. If you have your own church, go to that church. That's the point. You go where you're comfortable at. Don't expect for people to make it convenient for you. That's part of having a private business. When y'all, whoever from whatever group or fraction or association, if one place doesn't accept you, make your own place. Make your own path. Make your own choices. That's why having private ownership is so important. That's why we protect it. And then if you want to have a public place of business that welcomes all, that's on you. But you can't be the one preaching division and you want to expect for unity. The best thing for America right now is for America to get back to work, to get back to taking care of their family with pride and with job that makes sure that they can put the basics on the table, a roof over their head, making sure their kids go to school and being better than they ever thought that they can be. Real parents want their children to be better than they are, because future generations depend on it. Our ancestors who died for our rights and freedoms, they depended on their future to provide for their loved ones. Not this hate. They saw the burden of it. They paid the price. They're still paying the price right now if you continue in that direction. I'm colorblind, and more people should be. That we can have friends, we can have family and loved ones of different backgrounds, different associations. But the thing is, we all need to know what respect means. And we lost that. We lost a lot of what conservative leadership brings in. It's not about just being hard on you. It is about making sure you keep everything that you worked hard for without the government being able to take it whenever it feels like it. We got to get out of protesting, petitioning, recalling, and going nowhere. We need action. Winning elections provide for action. But if we still stick to this game plan of doing things the same old way, we are giving Joe Biden and the Democrats exactly what they want. We gotta put a stop button here. A great reset Not of what Omar and the rest of the squad talk about, but we need to reset on how we deal with each other moving forward. There's no excuse on earth for politicians to wage war to the use of dead bodies and allow the American citizens to fight their war, and they are not out there on the battlefield. And all the disrespect for police officers. Police officers is of all different backgrounds, ethnicities, and walks of life. They're not perfect. No, they're not. But a lot of them do the job to the best of their ability. And the officers that are quitting right now are the best police officers imaginable. And that's sad. Because they're getting tired of being mixed in with some few spoiled, rotten apples. But those who stay and dedicated, we must make sure we don't make the mistakes that we made before. People jump into conclusions. Allow politicians to talk about the funding common sense. And we must make sure that we understand we all have constitutional rights and freedoms, and we must protect the Constitution, not politicians' wish lists. Joe Biden didn't say none of that. He didn't show no empathy. He only sympathized with what's going wrong here in America through his policies. He can talk all he wants to about all these different people who tell him these stories and all this other stuff. But the truth is, everyone who told him those stories haven't seen their problems fixed by the person who is supposed to be the leader in handling that. I'm going to continue to pray for America and everybody in it. I don't wish failure on nobody. But we still have to hold those leaders accountable for continuous failure that is a pattern. And this is a pattern of America becoming the next Venezuela. And who do you think is going to help America when we get to that point? Not the other countries, because the other countries want us to be in this situation. That's why they helped influence the election to make sure Joe Biden was president. It's easier to get over on the weak. You can't get over on a lion. So we either going to be sheets for socialism, indoctrination, keeping our businesses closed and people out of work, and taking away your guns, taking away your churches so you can practice your faith, tearing away a history that made us who we are as a nation, and making our kids feel like tomorrow has no hope. I want to do everything to fix all of that. And it's not going to take me saying the same thing I've been saying for the last 20 or 30 years like Joe Biden and the rest of these politicians. I'm going to take charge and commit to action. You can't bring a plan out there for anybody to provide solutions unless you're a part of the answer. So God bless you, and God bless America. And this is my response to Joe Biden's whack-ass speech. Vote red. Vote Republican. MAGA 2024, Trump 2024, and Rutledge 2021. Amen.